Right, this is something different. This episode is called How Many Hands Is Your Horse? About 34 years ago, oh by the way, I'm reading from a script initially here because I need to really make sure I've got the details right, and so I've got a script glued to the screen in front of me covering up the picture, and then the camera is above the script. So about 35 years ago, when Ruth and I first started the Northcote Heavy Horse Centre in Wildest, Lincolnshire in the UK, we used to have a carriage museum. You can read more about this in the book. It's a Life book 4. And visitors there were invited to come and listen to a short talk about the types of carriages they were looking at and a little bit about their evolution. There's some really lovely carriages, antique and modern and everything, beautiful. About 30 carriages in there, different kinds. Naturally, horses came into the talk at some stage, and I did venture into the reason why horses are measured in hands. Hand. Horses, and particularly heavy horses, being my whole life for over 25 years at that time, it just came naturally that I measured horses by hands. But as you see there is a reason for this. Many magazines have touched on the subject, particularly the celebrated Horse and Hound magazine in the UK in 2017. But I've looked here and there and hither and thither and cannot find any mention of the reason I used to tell my visitors all about. I was reminded of this on Sunday last, when we had a few friends around to help with the harvest of peaches from the trees in our garden. Naturally, our friends are French, and being close friends, they are also now retired from work. Roger was the chap who sold us our house. He's an ex-agricultural engineer. And Jacques, a good friend from Bourgogne, was originally a miner and then retrained to be an electrical engineer, and he worked for Electricity de France. He's now retired. The ladies had their own conversation, and we three chaps got on to talking about horses. I mentioned about measuring in hands and asked them to show me their hands. Roger is about 8 years older than myself. Oh, I'm officially 79 now. Last week or the week before. And Jacques is about 16 years younger. They're both shorter in stature than myself, as indeed are most Frenchmen, and I asked them to show me their hands. I placed my hand alongside theirs one at a time and then explained that they could now see the reason why horses are measured in hands in England. All our three hands were the same size across the palm. It doesn't matter how tall you are or fat you are or whatever, the hand is the same. There's a bit more to it though. It's true of virtually all male humans of European descent, and always has been. So there is really no surprise that in most English-speaking countries, horses have traditionally been measured in hands, especially after Henry VIII decreed in 1540 that English males, that's the handspan of an English man at the palm, would be officially 4 inches across. He decreed that, so I guess it must be right. Perhaps this helped to seal the fact that if you were off to buy a horse, or were in fact selling your horse, then you would measure that horse from the ground to its withers, that's the highest point of its shoulder, and any prospective purchaser could confirm that height by using his own hands. For centuries this was one of the most important details of horses for sale. There are measuring sticks marked in hands and measured in inches, which are a bit more accurate. But you see, not everyone carried a measuring stick, and still don't. They just don't have to, do they? There we are. I hope you found that interesting. If you like our little story, perhaps you might give us a like on our YouTube channel and also subscribe. It doesn't cost anything and it helps us to grow the channel. It's a support for what we do. So there we are, and if you remember, if you want to look at anything else that Cracker Books publish, you can find full details on our website www.crackerbooks.fr. Everything's free to download. There's hours of entertainment, books, audio stories, and of course the videos. Thank you for being with us.